All right, let's dive in. Today, we are going to level up your professional language. We're going to look at 15 simple, everyday phrases you might be using in meetings and completely transform them to make you sound more polished, confident, and, honestly, more strategic. You know that feeling, right? You're in a big meeting, you have this absolutely brilliant idea, but when you open your mouth to share it, the words that come out just feel, well, a bit flat. It's that frustrating moment where you're worried you just don't sound as credible or as sharp as you really are. Yep, that space between your great idea and how you deliver it, let's call that the professionalism gap. But here's the good news. That is a gap we can totally close. Mastering this kind of strategic language isn't about using big, complicated words. Nope. It's about choosing the right words to get your message across with real precision and authority. Okay, so where do we start? Let's tackle one of the most nerve-wracking moments in any meeting, actually entering the conversation. If you can get this part right, it really sets the tone for everything else you're going to say. So take a look at this. I want to say something. It's a little blunt, isn't it? It kind of sounds like a demand. But when you switch that to, may I contribute to the discussion? Oh, that's a whole different vibe. It's a polite request, it shows you respect the other speakers and the flow of the meeting. It's way more effective. Oh, using the word wait can be like hitting the emergency brake on a conversation. Everything just screeches to a halt. The formal option, though, is so much smoother. By saying it's a clarifying question, you immediately let everyone know your intention. You're not there to argue, you're just trying to understand better. It makes you sound engaged, not aggressive. We've all done it. Sorry, I missed that. But the problem is, that phrase puts the focus on you, on your slip-up. When you ask someone to reiterate that point, you cleverly shift the focus back to the information itself. It's a subtle change, but it's powerful. You get the info you need without highlighting that you zoned out for a second. Hey, being confused is not a weakness. It's an opportunity to learn. But just saying, I don't get it, can come across as pretty abrupt. Asking, could you clarify that for me, shows that you're actively engaged and you're making an effort to understand. It's really a sign of respect for the speaker. So you're in the conversation. Awesome. Now what? Well, now it's time to actually share what you think. This next set of phrases is all about expressing your opinions, whether you're agreeing, disagreeing, or maybe you're just not sure, and doing it with confidence and a bit of diplomacy. I don't agree. Yikes. That can feel like a personal attack, can it? But watch what happens when you tweak it to, I respectfully disagree with that point. You see? You've separated the person from the idea. It's not a personal conflict anymore. It's the start of a healthy, constructive debate. Both of these show you agree, for sure, but the formal version adds this whole other layer of critical thought. When you call something a viable solution, it shows you're not just passively nodding along. You've actually analyzed it and determined that, yep, this could actually work. I'm not sure can sound a little vague, maybe even unconfident, but saying you have reservations, now that's a strategic move. Reservations is a powerful word. It signals that you have specific, thought-out concerns and basically invites the other person to ask you what they are. This one is great because it shows how you can add value even when you're just agreeing with someone. Praising an idea is good, of course, but suggesting it's worth exploring further, that shows you're thinking ahead. You're not just giving a compliment, you're proposing what to do next. Asking for someone's opinion is what great collaborators do, but the formal phrasing here really elevates your request. It communicates that you don't just want any old opinion, you specifically value their unique expertise and insight. It makes them feel seen. All right, our final set of phrases moves us from just participating in the meeting to actually steering it. Now, this isn't about being bossy or aggressive. It's about showing leadership by managing the meeting's flow, its pace, and how it wraps up. Here's another one of those subtle but really important differences. Thinking about something can be a pretty passive activity, but giving consideration implies something much more active, a more structured and serious evaluation. It signals you're really taking the request seriously. Can we move on? We've all been tempted to say it, but it can definitely sound impatient. The formal phrase, though, is a brilliant collaborative suggestion. By mentioning the next agenda item, you're grounding your request in the meeting structure, showing respect for the plan and everyone's time. The simple phrase here can feel really dismissive, almost like you're just brushing the topic aside for good. The formal option, on the other hand, professionally parks the topic. Saying revisit at a future meeting acknowledges that the topic is important while making sure it doesn't derail the current agenda. Notice how the formal phrase here turns a sense of panic into a clear plan. We need to fix this fast. Creates urgency, but it also creates a bit of chaos. Using words like prioritize and promptly gives you that same urgency, but wraps it in a calm, strategic framework. You know when a discussion has just run its course and you need a firm but polite way to end it? Let's wrap this up. It's pretty casual. But I suggest we conclude our discussion is a very clear, assertive signal that it is time to move on to the next steps. And finally, how you end the meeting really matters. Talk to you later is fine, but I look forward to our continued collaboration ends things on such a positive, forward-looking note. It reinforces those professional relationships and sets a great tone for whatever comes next. Okay, so you've got the phrases, you've got this new toolkit, but how do you actually use them effectively? Because it's not just about what you say, it's about how you say it. Let's quickly run through 5 key tips for delivery. First, context is everything. You're going to talk to senior leaders differently than you talk to your immediate team, so match the tone. Second, be consistent. Hopping between super formal and really casual can be jarring for people. Third, adapt. A great trick is to mirror the formality of others in the room. Fourth, combine these phrases to create a natural flow. And last, but maybe most important, practice. I mean it. Say these phrases out loud. It'll help them feel so much more natural when you really need them. This really brings us to the core takeaway of all this. The goal is not to sound complicated or use big words just to sound smart. It's much simpler than that. The real goal is to make sure your valuable ideas are understood with the clarity, the weight, and the respect that they absolutely deserve. So as we wrap up, I'll leave you with a challenge. Which one of these phrases will you try to use in your very next meeting? You don't have to master all of them overnight. Just picking one is the perfect way to start building this really powerful skill. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.